That's better. I've got sound now. I've been saying good evening to everybody. How are you all? This is a good start. Well, at least I've got a good connection, touch wood, up to now. Hopefully everything's okay now. It should be coming through now. Could somebody let me know that it's okay? You got sound, lovely. I forgot to click it on. Okay, simple as that. You know, well, it's high tech is. Good evening, everybody that I've missed prior to currently. I think you saw me mouthing your names. Evening, Ronnie. Steve Robbins, how are you? Good evening. Sing John Productions, good evening. Hi, Joseph, I'll say it out loud. Mr. Rothwell, good evening, Dave, how are you? Stuart, good evening, Stuart, how are you? Thanks for coming. Don McGee. The gentleman who's... I wish I could understand what you were actually saying, but I can't, I'm afraid. Accept my ignorance. Wooden Touch from Calgary, hello, how are you? Ron R, good evening, how are you? Mark Pritchard, good evening. Ian Plews. All okay now, Simon Mason, thank you very much. Evening, Mr. Lenahan, how are you, Shay? Nick Castle, good evening. Good evening, Robert, again. Colin King, hello Colin, how are you? That lovely bit of you this afternoon I saw, absolutely fabulous, mate. Good evening, Shay, again. I hope this is as entertaining as your last live. Well, you want something to shoot off, do you? Oh no, it didn't last time, did it? No. Okay. Fixing Furniture from Toronto, good evening. Welcome. Yes, thanks, Steve, I am. Thank you. Alan Russell, good evening. Van Ram from South Africa, good evening to you, sir. Fred Taylor, good evening. Hi, Michael Martin, welcome. Mohammed Ajan, hello, how are you? From Kuwait, I'm honoured, thank you. The gentleman that is texting or chatting under Tony Marlborough now and between Tony and Matthew Gallagher Woodturning, good evening. I'm afraid I can't understand what you're saying. I do apologise. Hello, Leona, how are you? I'm going to say good evening to everybody. I'm going to make a quick break, and some of you might have tuned into a live stream yesterday. I was actually recording what I was doing, because I do that quite often to see what the lighting's like and the sound and everything, and just record it on OBS and then play it back. Well, I inadvertently must have hit the stream button, so there was, according to Leona, 1 hour of this. That was playing for an hour till I realised when I got in later on, so I apologise for that if anybody was watching. Oh, it was 6 minutes. Ah, you were exaggerating, Leona. Florida Bearded Fisherman, hey Mike. Hello Brian, how are you? I'm fine, mate. Oh, nice. Oh, lovely, I look forward to it. I bet you're looking forward to it. Enjoy yourself. Good evening, Frederick Day, how are you? DL Woodart, good evening. How are you, Derek? And Nigel, I've a long walk. Line of Duty. Oh, brilliant series. Absolutely brilliant series. Leona's saying she thought I'd knocked myself unconscious yesterday. Yeah, right. It was a bit of a slap when I realised what had happened. Andy Best, good evening. Let's move this over here a little bit. Right, Mr. Strand, good evening. How are you? I'm not even going to repeat that in public because you're telling fibs, Mick. Well, I've got another piece of your wood on tonight, so let's hope it stays together, eh? Evening, Steve. Jeremiah, how are you? Welcome. Hypnos Hanover, Alexander, good evening. John Mooney, good evening, sir. James Larimore, hello, how are you? From Delaware. Brian, got the Talon chucked by one way. Oh, that's nice, yeah. You'll enjoy the Talon, it's very good. Very, very good. Derek, try to watch you and Cindy. I think you'll get more. I've seen Cindy do a live remote tour about 8 weeks ago. She is superb. She is a high priestess of fine turning, along with Pat Carroll, of course. Hello, Chris Nunn. How are you? Mark Pritchard. How are you? Mike, for my first negative rate, what degree? Well, what degrees would I put on the bevel? My personal opinion, I love 35-35, Mark. This one here. That's a 1-inch round nose scraper that I made into a 35-35 negative rake, and I love it to death. So that's just a suggestion, but that's just my opinion, of course. Good evening, everybody else. Matthew Gallagher, hi there, you're right. Good evening, Matthew. I said hello to you. Leroy, good evening. How are you? Or good afternoon. Hi, Wivey. How are you? Good evening, retired Ilminster. How are you? John Moody says I can start now. He's got his Burger King and a good seat. Do you know, I've always been a Burger King man for takeaways, but the last one I had was diabolical. It really was. Casey Ryan, hi, how are you? Looking forward to the live stream. Thank you. Got excited when I saw you were live streaming yesterday. Sorry about that. That was a faux pas on my. I put it down to my age. Hello, Scott. How are you? Home Improvement Woodworking. Good evening. Good morning, Harris, from Southwest Washington. It's good morning, so good morning to you, sir. Shay Lenahan, Mr. Stratton, are you at that age? I missed something there, but he is that age. Oh yeah, well past the pension age. Bob Osterberg. Good evening, sir. How are you, Bob? Hi, Steve Ash, Chris Cox. I think I said hello. You were first on, I think, Chris. We'll try that out in the morning. My new Pro Edge, thank you. Brilliant. Let me know you get on. If you're on Messenger, give me a message and let me know. I'd be interested. Dutch Turner. Burger King is a sponsor. Yeah, right. You're not wrong there, the Dutch Turner. I'll give him another chance someday. Robert Rizaldi from Houston, Texas. Good evening to you, or good morning maybe for you. Andrew Lorben Pearson, good evening. How are you, Andrew? Thank you. I'm just going to run through the... keeping in mind that no one else has arrived. Oh, Graham Fackman. Hi. What's the weather like down in Norfolk? We've had immense rain this afternoon. Thunder and lightning, which is forecast tonight as well. But hopefully that doesn't mess my connection up. Right, let's just try the overhead. Yeah, that's nice. That's clear. I've done this. I'm not going to do this on a regular basis. I've got a picture-in-picture. The reason I've done that is just for certain shots might be handy to see body movement, etc. You won't see my face, so it won't be too frightening. Good evening, Bram. How are you? Stormy, Graham. Yes, very stormy today. Evening, Andy Codell. How are you? And good evening, Bram. I think I said hello to you, Bram, but my mic was off. How are you, mate? And give my love to the good lady too. Miguelitros, saludo from Mexico. Saludo, Miguel. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks, Brian. German bread, Mike J. Right. Clive Perrott, good evening, Clive. Colin Roberts, Norfolk always is, and windy. Hello. Well, I used to live in Wales, so I know all about the rain and the wind. We just got the barbecue going when it started to rain. You should have a cover over it, Chris. Evening, Steve Rickett, good evening. Colin Watson, good evening to you, sir. Andy Tlanetley, Posh Firewood Green, hi Andy, how are you? It's nice to see you, mate. Some of my kinsmen from Wales. After a week with power because of the storm on the east coast, it's nice to be back online. Well, yeah, we haven't had power cuts, touch wood, but I've had problems with my broadband, with my internet. Dominic, good evening, how are you? Michael Kess, NJ Woodturners, I presume that's New Jersey. Hi. Roger Woods from Rotherham, good evening, Roger. Team Wild, good evening, Ben, how are you? Are you well? Good luck, thank you very much. I just hope that the connection stays. You've got 23 degrees. At the moment, Martin, funny enough, I'm 23 degrees in the shop as well, in the workshop. It's very, very pleasant. Good evening, Wayne. Wayne the Woodturner, Speed Merchant, how are you? James Simcox, good evening. I think, yeah, Emma's brilliant. Emma, Tony Woodturner, she's brilliant. Right, what I in a couple of minutes and we'll get started. Because I got a lot of people saying last time I was on, good evening, Bob. I've got to, hang on a minute. That's it. Because of quite a few people asked me or said they'd like to see me finish a piece. That's why I'm doing this. Hopefully, this small hollow form. There is obviously quite a bit of hollowing to be done, so I'll be talking you through what I'm doing. There's not a lot to see there really because it's going to be a small opening, but at least I'm going to hopefully get time to get a sand the outside and get a finish and part him off, so it's basically a finished piece. Because it's a small opening, I don't sand the inside, and I'll try and be as honest as I can to get the inside as smooth as possible, but I very rarely sand the inside of small hollow forms. Hello Gene Chambers, how are you? Good to see you as well. Thank you for coming. Mark Pritchard saying he's glad he went for the Pro Edge. You get what you pay for and well worth the money. Yeah, I wish I'd found it in the beginning when I started turning. It's absolutely fabulous. It really is. I love it. It's quick and repeatable, which is what it's all about. Just going off camera for a minute. Oh no, we're not. That's off camera. You know what I'm doing. Hello Roger, it's not a stand, it's what I made, mate. It's I've had that holding my jaws for a long time. Made out of 3/4 ply. It's raining in Wales, Andy. Andy from Tlanetley. Well, there's a surprise, mate. Okay, it's 7:30. So, hello everybody and welcome, and thank you very much for turning up on this very wet, thundery night. I'll go to the overhead and explain what I'm going to be doing. Okay. So what I've got is this piece of spalted beech that was very kindly given to me by my mate Mick Stratton, and it's part of a long piece that he gave me. This piece here is 170mm long and it's 100 mil approximately square. So what I'm going to do, I've got my medium gripper jaws in, which I love using those, used those for years. I've got my new chuck mounted steb drive, which is great because I can do my turning between centres, take that out and straight into the chucks. That's brilliant. So, and I always use my steb centres when I'm turning between centres. So I'm going to get this to round. Get a tenon formed, put it in the chuck, do a very basic shape of what I'm looking for, and then we'll hollow out. And while I'm hollowing out, I'll go through what I'm feeling, because I won't be able to see very much while I'm in there, obviously, because it's a small opening. So that's what we'll be doing. I'm pretty sure you can hear when I've got my respirator on, which I will have on. For this one, I'm going on picture in picture to start with. Picture in picture. The reason being, for the newer turner, is to show when you'll be using a spindle roughing gouge, and if you look at the picture in picture, you see a lot of people when they use their arms. So in other words, they're going across like this, the body's staying still, and they're moving their arms. What you should be doing is to get your position, the position you finish your cut on. In this case, I like going right to left, that's just me. I want to be comfortable at the end of the cut. That stops you falling off the cut. Exaggerating, if you're standing all the way over here and you're nice and comfortable, if it's a longer piece, by the time you get to the end, you're off balance and you're rushing. So you want to be comfortable at the beginning of your cut, at the end of your cut, which in my place is this end, and lean over and do it. And you don't want to be using your arms like this. Once you've picked the cut up, lock the handle and move your body in one movement, not your hands. Lock everything in, not tense, just stable. Okay, so start off at the lowest speed you can. Going just on 1200 revs now. So anchor the tool, get a nice position, get it in a nice position, lift the handle, and then once you've got the cut, lock into the side. Notice how low the handle is, and move your whole body across the work. Back, move your whole body. You can move back and forth. And stop and move the tool rest. I was going to turn this to round before I started, but I thought it might be of interest to the newer turner. There's a bit of a bit of rotten wood there, Mick. Look at that. Look. Oh my God, I don't know. Okay, so again, start, rub the bevel, lift the handle, engage the cut, lock the handle into your side and move across the work. I think that's going to give me some problem, Mick, that is. Now we're not looking for finish here, all we're looking is to get it to round. Just lift the tool rest slightly. And just keep doing that until you've got it. It doesn't have to be exactly round, because obviously, I think we'll turn the speed up a bit. You don't have to have your hand over the tool. But if you have your hand over the tool, it does stop a lot of shavings coming up at you. Not far. That's nearly there. Talk amongst yourselves. It's a bit of punky wood there. Now you can start, this is going to be the top, tenon's going to be down here. You could even use, this just to start to get a basic shape. And okay, so that's going to be, it's not completely round, but it's round enough. Now I'm going to be using a 1/2 inch spindle gouge. You can use a 3/8 ball gouge if you wish. And sorry, to start again, I'll be using a parting tool to form the tenon, and just square off the edge there. Now we're going to put the light on here, and the beauty of having the stab centre in the chuck is that I can form the tenon. I have a good guide here, because I'm going to have a tenon, not a mortise, what the size of my tenon should be. I've got the calipers to double check, but I can eyeball it as it's going down, and I can see, and I want approximately the width of this parting tool. So again, just go down, and I can take my calipers just to check, nearly there. I always remember my first ever demo at UKIS, and I did the tenon too small. Now what I can do now is remove the tailstock and just take out the stab centre. And these jaws are serrated both on the outside and the inside. There's no dovetail. Now what I like to do again for the newer turner is bring up the tailstock, and that's actually gone straight in there, and that just squares off the blank in the jaws, so it should be running as true as it was when it was between centres. Perfect. Now, like with most things, I always keep the tailstock up for support while I can. I might change to a smaller rest later. So basically, what I'm going to be doing now with the 1/2 inch spindle gouge is just forming a rough shape of what I'm looking at. I'm looking possibly to sort of end it around this area here. So we'll start on the top and just get a rough shape and see how we like it, using a 1/2 inch spindle gouge. Rock that down a little bit. Lifting the handle, turning slightly, don't know if you need to have, I think I'll go to the overhead now. Just on overhead. You don't need to see my body movement for this, I don't think. I want that to be the widest part there. So basically I'm going to be, turn the speed up a bit now. I'm just having a look, and this might end up a bit shorter than I wanted because of the width. Might end up about there, I think. I'm not too sure here at the moment. It's just, it won't be wasted, I assure you, this wood. Yeah, I think it's going to have to. Lift the handle, keeping the bevel in contact. When people say rub the bevel, you just float in the bevel for guidance. Lift the handle, twist slightly the flute to follow the contour that you want to get to. Now I want to leave meat here because I'll be hollowing out, but as I say, I'm not too sure. This might end up like a mini vase. I don't know yet. We'll just see how it goes. Pick up the cut, follow the contour of what you're looking at. I think it needs to come in a bit further. Let's just tidy that up a little bit here. Looking a bit oblong at the moment. Those marks there are from the spindle roughing gouge because I was a bit heavy with it. Yes, I think I'm liking that. Yeah, that's coming on. The thing is that obviously one doesn't like to, nobody likes to waste wood, but at the end of the day you have to have things in balance to your eye, and I think if it went longer than that it would look out of proportion. And the other thing is as well that hopefully we can put at a later date, it lends itself for a finial as well. Yeah, I quite like that shape actually. Yeah, it will come down quite a bit more there, but I think what I'm going to do now is just tidy this middle bit up a little bit, and I'm going to change my rest to a shorter rest. Somebody asked me, do I have a preference with the standard rests or these tubular rests? I like both of them actually. The only problem with the tubular rest is sometimes you can't get quite as close to the work as you can with a standard rest, because there's no overhang. But it doesn't normally cause a problem. So all I'm trying to do now is just clean up and here. Light cuts just to get rid of those ridges. Pick up the cut, feather into the cut. Nice light cut, lift the handle, follow the contour down. Little mark there. Okay, and just this little bit here, pick up the cut, lift the handle, keep that bevel in contact, and that's quite nice, just that little bit there. Nice light cut. And leaving that there, just going to turn the rest very slightly so I get a bit more support. Let's take it up quite a nice shape. Pick up the cut there where there's that little ridge. Lift the handle, I'm going to leave that there for a minute because I just want to check this, put the light on, I hope it doesn't wash it out. No, it's not too bad. There's a bug hole there, but apart from that it's not too bad, not too bad at all. A bit of a crack appearing there, and that's where the knocking's coming from, but not a problem. So what I'm going to do now is to take this, take my respirator off so you can possibly hear me a bit better. Pull the tailstock back, and what I'm going to do now is drill. Martin Saban-Smith, in one of his live demos, said he didn't like drilling, so it's I'm possibly going to start calling my channel Drilling with Mike Walt, but I like to get rid of the slow moving wood in hollow forms and goblets. I mean, I don't very often use a drill in a goblet, but for these I do, and it's going to be, I think this was 20 mil, I think, and I put that into my Jacob's chuck. And the reason I like using an auger bit is because it clears the chippings away nicely. And the only thing with an auger bit, as a word of warning, is you see there's a screw thread on the end. Now I've filed that right down so that it's not sharp, and the reason for that is there's no chance of it catching in the wood when you're retracting, because those threads at the end of that auger bit were a lot bigger and sharper than they are now. So that's the reason for that. But you hold on to the Jacob's chuck anyway. I've got a centre mark there, and the depth I'm looking at, whoops, I'm looking to be about there, which is there. So I just put a mark at the 4-inch mark just here, and that's there. So I know that's how deep I need to drill, and that will take me to, just double check, measure twice, drill once, and that takes me to that line there. So I'm going to mark that just so I don't forget that I'm drilling down to there. And just making one more check that I've taken into account that, which I have, because don't forget you've got the pointy bit on the end as well. Now you'll see how well this actually gets rid of the chippings. Turn him down. You don't want it more than about 700 revs, I should say. Hold on to the Jacob's chuck. Actually, what I'll do is change camera to tailstock. There we go. You get a better view then, and just feed it in nice and gently. Let it establish itself, and then once it starts to cut, and keep removing to get rid of the swarf. But the thing with the auger bits is they are very effective, and they cut very smoothly. But keep removing, getting rid of the swarf, because what happens is it backs up in there and it stops the cutting, and it can actually jam. But you can see it's coming out nicely there. Now the thing is with these small hollow forms, the one I did a couple of weeks ago out of another piece of this Spalted Beech. Hello? Oh yeah, it's okay, I'm just checking. Just checking my sound is working. It was a 25mm entry hole. Doesn't sound a lot more, but it's surprising, my little fat fingers, I can get in, just about get in to the 25mm, but whether I'll be able to get all the way down on a 20mm hole, I don't think I will, but it's not a problem. We have little measuring devices. Now when you get that squeaking, I mean, I've only got a little bit to go now, but what you can do is just get a little bit of beeswax and just put that on the drill, and that negates that horrible squeaking sound. I mean, it doesn't bother me particularly when I'm on my own, but I can imagine you wouldn't be too happy with that. Not far to go now. That's it. We're there. Pull him out, turn the lathe off, and get rid of the auger. And whatever you do when you're doing any drilling like that, don't touch it. I know it's an obvious thing to say, but it is hot. It is hot. Now again, I don't normally use my airline. I normally use a vacuum, but for the sake of this demo, I'll be using an airline to get rid of because again, when you start to hollow, you want to be removing all the waste from inside, because it binds up your cutter. And what I'm going to be using for hollowing, which I've been using for a few years now for small hollowing like this, is the Simon Hope 6mm mini hollower. And there he is there, little 6mm hollower, and it's amazing how much that actually gets rid of. And it's the same size cutter that's on the Hollowing Pro, the bigger one as well. He does an 8mm and a 10mm cutter as well, but this one is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Now, for this, because I'm going under here, it's not going to be a massive shoulder, but you can, especially with a 20mm opening, I'm going to struggle. I'm going to be touching this side with the tool. So there's a swan neck, and all that swan neck is for, and when you use it, you make sure you're not on the kink. When you use it, all that is for doing this piece here, this bit there, just under the shoulder. And we'll come to that later on. Now, when you're hollowing, it's always best, and I'm not an expert hollower by any means, but it's always best to work your way down and get things finished up here, apart from maybe a couple of very light passes, purely and simply because when it gets thin up here, to go back as you're working your way down, you're losing support, and so work your way down. Now, the way I like to use this is virtually on the horizontal. I have, if I can show you here, let's get on the overhead just for a minute. This is for the people that may be interested. Thank you very much, Russell. That was very kind of you, my friend. And hello, Kevin. I'll say one thing. Hang on a minute. Let's just go back to my ugly mug. Just to let you know that because I operate this on my own, as you were aware, I can't see the chat. I'll just keep talking. But when I do stop, which I will in about 4 or 5 minutes, 4 questions. So if you have any questions and nobody can answer them, or it's not directed at somebody in the chat, if you could just wait till I stop, and I'll have a 5 or 10 minute session with questions. And I think that's the only way I can do it when I'm on me Todd, as they say. So we'll go back to the overhead for a minute. This is the setup, and I like to have the tip at approximately 40-45 degrees. So what I do, I swivel it, and then I have the grub screws. Whoops, hang on. I have the grub screws upright, and when they're like that, I know it's at 45 degrees. There is another one as well, a small hollower, which is on square bar, and that cutter is actually permanently at 45 degrees, and that's an 8mm, sorry, that's an 8mm cutter, and that would be okay for here as well. But I do like my little 6mm because you get a bit more versatility. Now, one of the things, if we go on to the tailstock end, as I say, when you're hollowing, there's not a lot that can be seen. One of the problems that I have and had was when you're hollowing, the further down you go, you want to keep your hand on the same plane. But what happens is, if you're looking into a hollow form, you bend, you look down, and as you do, your hand's dropping. So what's happening is you're losing your cut. So really concentrate when you're using carbide tips or any hollowing. Once you've got the sweet spot, you need to maintain that plane, otherwise you're going to lose the cut. Now, I'm not sure how this entrance is going to look at the, you know, at the end, but it gives me a little bit of room to maneuver, let's put it that way. So basically, enter, pick up the cut and swivel. Actually, I think I'm getting washed out there. Is that better? Not a lot of difference, apart from the fact that I can't see, so we'll have it on. So obviously what I'm doing now, I'm feeling my way. There comes a stage where you have to measure, obviously. I mean, not there yet, but we've come under to about here with this. And as you can see, if I wanted to carry on with this, just around the corner here, because I think I should be bringing that around here and have a fairly narrow lip, I'm fouling this side. So that's where, and can actually do it now, is where the swan neck comes in. You move your tool back, and I'll just go on the overhead a second so you can see if I've got a camera operator, that you don't want to be like that, because you've got no control. What you need is to be on the straight part of the bar. So when you're there, you need to be there, or further back, obviously. So what you're doing here, it's already at 45 degrees. Again, I've got the, for my own guidance, I've got the grub screws when the cutter is at the right angle. Now it can be grabby, so you need to go in very carefully and just tickle it. That up slightly. Now that's what can happen if once you go past the area which the tool can handle. Now it's cutting lovely, I've got the sweet spot. You've just got to be very careful and very lightly with it. It is a wonderful tool, but this is why you should never hold your tools for grim death, because if you do, and you get a catch like I just had then, and I must be, I very rarely get them, but you know, it happens. If you're not holding the tool tight, the catch that you get will not be as bad as if you're holding on for grim death. So I'm just going to put this on and Okay. Now we've gone under there. You're going to have to take my word for a lot of this because you can't see what's going on, can you? With regards to the thickness of the walls, etc. You just have to rely on my honesty. It never ceases to amaze me how much material this little hollower. Let's go onto the tailstock end. That's better. Keeping my hand on the same level. Now once you get a rhythm going, I can't get my fingers in there. But what I can use possibly, this might be a bit big, I don't know, let's have a look. Yeah, that's too big for there. So what I use is, if I can find them, there. This is just a little bit of, I don't know, gauge wire twisted. Got this idea off San Angelo actually, and it's ideal for this sort of a size. It's not 100% accurate, but obviously it gives you an idea, and you can feel when it catches, and it gives you an idea of the size or the thickness of the walls as you're going down. And as I say, the trouble with hollowing is it's not actually a spectator sport, is it? See, what I'm doing there, if I can show you, is I'm starting the cut, getting the cut, and cutting when I'm coming back up the wall, but sliding back down and pivoting. Okay, so already with not much effort at all, I'm halfway down, and that's not too bad at all. And I don't want to go too thin there because we've got a little crack there. Please note, Mr. Stratton, rubbishy wood. I'll do a couple more passes and then we'll have 2 minutes for any questions. Again, I found that what I like to do when I do find the sweet spot, see what you're what your intention, if you like, is to keep it on the same level. But as you're going down, you are either raising your hand or lowering your hand. You've got to concentrate to keep this horizontal to the bedways, or slightly up, depending what your turning style is. But once you get that sweet spot, you've got to keep it there. Well, take a little bit more out and then have some questions. Get rid of that. I'll cover up my mic. Sorry about that. That was nice, I feel better for that. Okay, so we'll have a few. Did you notice a deliberate mistake when I actually dropped my tools? And it's really annoying because I made this for when I'm doing demos, just to put my tools in, and I didn't use it. And what happened is I dropped my tools, but luckily they dropped on the soft bit. So we'll have a few questions. Mr. Steve Twaddell, how are you? Paul Kavanagh, good evening. If I've missed anybody, by the way, I apologise, and good evening to you. Has anybody got any questions while I'm taking a couple of minutes? Sorry about that. Apologise to your cat. James Cassidy, question mark, not used an auger bit for drilling. Okay. Is there a tendency for it to grab in the piece you are turning and possibly pull the chuck out? Yes, there is. But as I explained, what I do, the threads on the end of it, James, I file those right down. So there's no grab in those at all. And that's the reason that that I do it. I just file the ends down, the thread down, so it doesn't grab. Hello Emmanuel, how are you? Hello to everybody, as I say. Andy Best, question. Sorry if I missed it, but is that timber dry? Yes, it is. How does the effect of hollowing compare to moist timbers? It's the same as any dry or wet turning compared. If it's dry, and this is dry, it's spalted, but it is really dry. When you're hollowing, you do tend to get a lot of dust. Not because the cutters aren't cutting, it's just purely because it's dry. Is there a crack in the opening? Would it be easier to open it up and hollow? Yeah, but the whole point, yes, it would be, Bob, but the whole point is I want to keep the small opening. What I shall do is turn that to I'll turn it to a smaller lip, but we'll just see how it goes. The thing is that if it does crack too much, because it's only about 3 or 4 mil now at that neck, you know, just under the neck there, I would either fill it or just make the opening a bit wider. I have to see how it goes. I'll say it's that bad wood that I got from Mick Stratton. Gary Robinson, do I like my new lathe, and if so, why? Yes, I do. Nothing wrong with the FU230, an excellent lathe. Before I die, because I'm nearly 70 now, I really wanted the XL. Got a good price for my FU230, and I went for the XL. It is everything the FU230 is, but it's bigger, it's bulkier, it's got more power, and it's a joy to use. So yeah, that's the only reason. Paul, can I show you what to do? Nigel, oh hang on, I'm losing the... Let's go back to... Where are you? Lost you now. Nigel, over long walk. Mike, could you grind the end of the auger bit to a small point for the same effect and not have it penetrate so far? Yes, you could, Nigel, of course. It's one of those things I keep meaning to do, but I haven't actually done it. Steve Trudell, Temple Boy Turnings, is the Spalted Beech punky too, and how do you overcome punkiness in wood? It's not that bad actually, Steve, but what I use normally would be 2 or 3 applications of sanding sealer to stiffen up the fibres, and that normally sorts out. I mean, I have resorted to actual wood hardener in the past, but this is not too bad at all. There's none on the outside that I can see. So yeah, which is very good. I'm very lucky with for spalted wood, because it does get very punky, as you know. But yeah, normally I would use sanding sealer, 2, 3, maybe 4 applications to stiffen up the fibres, very light cuts, sharp tool, and that will reduce it quite considerably. William Kowalski from Venice, good evening, welcome. Wooden Touch, hey, thanks for the videos, my pleasure. And thanks very much for watching them. Well, it doesn't take long to share my knowledge, William, I can assure you. Colin Roberts, Soy Stewart, Bob Amaranth, Mike, please contact me later about a private paid demo. Okay, Bob, that's very kind of you. We'll discuss that. I don't normally do demos, if you like, but I'll get in touch with you. Will do. If you're on Messenger, give me a message and we'll have a chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Why did David Basher, why did you start this channel? I started this channel 9 years ago, because I wanted to give back to YouTube. And live streaming is only something I've been doing for the last couple of months. Hope that answers your question. Javid. Stuart Farini, hi Colin. Hello, JP and Company in USA art fryers are all shut down. What is it across the pond? In USA art fairs. Oh yeah, are all shut down. Things are starting to open up here a bit now. Craft fairs, I'm not sure what's going on there, but certainly a lot of shops are starting to open now as normal. Retired him, so thanks for the advice. Last time wood bands would have followed up. Cost of 2 chisels, so we'll keep 2 sticky labels, I think. Doug Rowe, to the goblet I made another one today. Oh, well done, Doug. Possibly the best one I made so far. Well, it's my pleasure, mate. I'm glad you're enjoying goblet turning. Send me a picture if you're on Facebook. Send me a picture. I'd be interested to see that. Right, we're going to have a 2-minute interlude. I'll still be here. MC, hi Mike, when did you start wood turning? I started wood turning in 2011, in November, I think. And then I put the first YouTube video up to pay back all the people I was watching to learn in June of 2012. But don't ever look at that one, because I'm ashamed. No, I'm not ashamed of it, but... What's a good tool for turning small finials? Recovering machinist. I tend to use a 3/8 spindle gouge and a skew chisel. For finials. Do you suffer much from tear out through hollowing and are into the difficulty? No, with a small form like I'm doing now, Frederick, I don't sand inside. I just get it as smooth as I can, and you can only get your little finger in. So as long as it's nice there without any ridges, then I get it as thin as I can to make it light. But anything bigger than that, where you can get in, I don't see the point in sanding the inside of a small hollow form like that. I will use various bits of kit. One of my favourites is just a piece of dowel with some loop on the end, either hook or loop, and then you can put your abranet on, you can put your sanding pads on there, get in there, leave your fingers well out. I even put a pad on the end of that one. It just sticks, just Velcro. They're great ways of doing it. And then I've got the Simon Hope inertia sander, which I'll be using on the outside of this form, but you've got an extended one which you can use inside hollow forms and vases. So there's plenty of ways. And also, if you want a power sand, you can use your drill. You can get an extender like that, like this, and that fits into your drill. So again, you can power sand to quite a depth without getting anything caught. Thank you, JP. That's very kind of you, mate. How are you? Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to go to an intermission in a minute and have a little vape, because I do get a few complaints, and rightly so. You can still hear me nabbering over the music though. I'm back. Okay. Steve, stop it, Mike. Would blame me if the cat had kittens. I would actually. Mick, it would be your fault because I haven't got a cat. So if I ended up with kittens, it would be your fault. Yes, certainly, Shay. You carry on, mate. Thank you for talking to Dimitri, because I can't understand what he says on here. It's very kind of you. Thank you. Terry Bray question. I'm thinking of a hollowing tool. Is it best to get the 6mm as the angle is not set at 45 as the 8mm, so maybe more versatile? Terry, I do love my 6mm. Whether you get the mini hollower or its bigger brother, this one here, that one there. I mean, I've just got that in a handle. That's the actual length of the bar, and there's a 6mm, only a 6mm on the end of that. That's a great tool. That's the first one I got. Thank you, Pete. That's very kind of you. Only need to sand a finger length, nobody can see. Exactly. And if you really want to be naughty, you can tape everything up and ebonize the inside with some ebonizing spray. But no, I mean, with the small hollow forms, it's about the weight. And as I say, tonight I can cheat as much as I like and tell you it's really thin when it's not. But it will be, I wouldn't lie to you, I assure you. Never mind the vape mic, I've got my pipe. Oh my word. Mind you, Mick Stratton visited me not long ago, if you weren't on last week, 2 weeks ago rather, and he gave me a senior service, and I used to smoke 40 of those a day years ago. It nearly killed me. I only smoked half of it. Some would say it depends on the length of the finger. Yes, Steve, Padjo's Garage, hello. What cameras am I using for streaming? I'm using the Logitech C920s. I've got 3 of them. I have a video camera and a bridge camera which can video, but I haven't got the video encoders, so I just use 3 cameras. But the C920s are excellent, they really are. Well, hopefully you agree that the quality is good. Much better than the turning. Okay, Shay, yeah, not a problem, mate. You carry on. This is an open forum, mate. Welcome one and all, as they say. I've got the 8mm, it's great. Yeah, it is. The 8mm is good. It is good. They're all good. They all really do move some stuff. But I find, actually, and I haven't actually done a lot of hollowing of late. I've only done 2 or 3 bits. But again, it's like anything else, it's muscle memory, and it takes a little time to get back into it. And especially when you're doing a live, because you are in the back of your mind thinking, if it goes, it goes. Okay, I'll go back to the tailstock, I think. Is that the best one? Yeah, we'll do that one. Put my respirator back on and we'll carry on. carry on hollowing, carry on talking to yourself. This shouldn't take too long, hopefully. Actually, what we could do, look, this is the 8mm, and that will just about fit in there as well, and that is on the 45-degree angle, just about right there. Let's see how that works. I mean, they all work very well indeed, must be honest. I just think that I use the little 6mm mini hollower for goblets as well, and boxes, anything like that. But this This 8mm does shift some wood, it really does. Just about get my finger in there. I know I'm a fair way off, but I'd rather just make sure. Yeah, we're not too bad there. Just a little bit of fine tuning at the top. See what's happened there. Right. Now, do you remember I said? Remember I said I dropped my tool on the ground? It's actually. Let's go back to my face and be honest. Something had to happen, didn't it? I mean, nothing can go smoothly. Can you see that? It dropped on the concrete and it broke the cutter. So I am now going to change the cutter. So talk amongst yourselves. The best laid plans go awry. Okay. I mean, I could carry on using the 8mm, but for the fine stuff near the top, that's going to be a bit awkward. So again, I apologise, but I would be annoyed, and I can't see a damn thing with my eyesight. I would say that if it all went smoothly, it would be a bit annoying, wouldn't it? And I'm not the most dexterous person in the world anyway. So, right. So, that's the 8mm, that's the 6mm. This is the fun bit now with my hands. Just talk amongst yourselves. It's like threading a needle. Ah, dear, oh dear. See, the problem I've got, this is not an excuse, I've got no feeling in my fingers on my right hand. It's my index finger and the finger next to it. So it's very difficult when you're doing small fiddly stuff. And indeed, the arthritis don't help either. So really, I'm falling apart. So it ain't gonna, it doesn't like me at all. Come on. There we go. No, we're not. We missed again. I'm not going to apologise because these things happen. There we go. So we've got a nice fresh blade, or a nice fresh cutter. There you go. Job done. Nice fresh cutter. There we are. Sorry about that. That's why I should have used my little tool holder, shouldn't I? Okay, let's back to the tailstock and start cutting. That's annoying with that cutter breaking because I'd only used it once, I hadn't turned it round. Of course, that's another thing you can do with these cutters. You can turn them round at least 3 times. And when you're doing this sort of a hollowing, it's all down to feel. And again, as I say, I cannot stress enough, if you haven't used or done small hollow forms like this, they actually can be a little bit more difficult than larger hollow forms because you can't see anything. So it's very important, in my view, as I keep saying, not to hold the tool with a death grip, because if you get a catch, and I've had a couple, it doesn't do much damage at all. But if you're holding on for grim death and you get a small catch, it is magnified, and the same with any tool. And it's very, very common with people who are afraid of using the skew chisel. They're hanging on for grim death, and if you hang on to grim death, when you do get a catch, it's magnified. The tool's got nowhere to go. But if you are holding it, so that's really nice now, down to about here. So a little bit more doing, and you should almost be finished. Now it's a bit like the motorway, leaving and starting the motorway or the freeway. When you start to do the cut, you've got to find your sweet spot. Nearly at the bottom now. Yeah, not far to go. So again, nice and gently. I hope you're all chatting away there. Obviously the other thing is that because it's a demo, I tend to rush a bit, and so I'm conscious of the time. I can feel we're there now. Definitely there. Yeah, we're at the bottom. We're at the bottom. Now, it's unfortunate, this is a bit, if I wasn't on camera I could use it. I was watching, I think it was Pat Carroll actually, and Wood Art. Let's stop for a minute. It's only been just over an hour. We've done the hollowing. Just got a bit of tidied up to do in there, which you can't see, but it needs doing. From Wood Art, a little. Whoops, that's not me, is it? Good God. From Wood Art, £26, I think it was. A little magnetic low voltage LED light. It's only about that big, and it fits on the tool post. It sticks to the tool post, and you can see right in to your hollow form. Absolutely brilliant. But of course, not much good for this sort of a situation. But I go to Wood Art's website and have a look, because they are brilliant bits of kit. They really are. 20 in the UK here anyway. They're 26 quid. I was very impressed, and it came. I ordered it one day. It came within 48 hours. It was here. So thank you for that. It was brilliant. I can't wait to use it now. Right, I have a few more little questions before I just tidy up the inside, if anybody's got some, which obviously gives me an opportunity to have a quick vape as well. One thing I will say, if you do go down the hollowing route with carbides, always carry a few extra tips. I've never, believe it or not, never dropped one before. Well, I've never had that happen before. It landed on the concrete. It had to miss the mat, didn't it? So there we go. What speed is the lathe running at? Don't know. Just over 1,000 revs, Steve. It's a bit slow actually, but you don't need to go massive. You don't need to go massive. 1,000 revs is fine. David Hall, Mike, try having no feelings in your feet as well as your hands. No thanks. It makes things really difficult at times, but I enjoy turning so much, so I find a way around it to get. Yeah, I agree. I've had this problem for years with my arthritis. They're a great light, alright, except for when you're numpty like me and it gets wrapped around the piece and thrown across the shop. Nice one, Steve. Yeah, okay. If it happened to you, Steve, it's going to happen to me, alright? AH Bespoke, hello, good evening to you. Pajo's Garage, what thickness you aim for usually? It won't be tonight. Normally around 3mm. The thing is that if you're doing work like Pat Carroll does, you know, when you're piercing and so on, that wall thickness has got to be as uniform right the way down, and you need it thin. On a piece like this, because you can't actually see inside, around 3 to 4mm is enough, because it's very light when you pick it up. That's what I aim. The one I did before, the one that I put on Facebook, that was about 3mm, I think. And but it does take time, and I won't be. I'm not going to spend an hour or 2 hours refining everything to get it just right. It's the process really, and I want to get the outside finished because people want me to do it. What is your recommendation for the glossiest finish? Lee Foskett, I'm really not a high gloss person. When I say high gloss, I don't like it mirror finish very often. I like more of a glow, but you know, shiny. You get a good shiny finish. I'll be doing a finish tonight. Hopefully it comes up well. The sanding sealer. I'll be using Yorkshire Grit Original on this in a Hampshire Sheen High Gloss, and it gives a nice glow gloss, not a sort of a mirror finish. I tend to think a mirror finish, it's great to achieve a mirror finish, but it looks a bit plasticky, I think. That's my own personal opinion, of course. Jim Hurst, Mike, have you ever thought of using a capture tool with I have one. I have got a captured, I've got the Simon Hope Easy Arm Jig, but for a small piece like this, no, I wouldn't use a captured arm. But for normally, I swivel the headstock and everything when I'm hollowing, and I could do it with literally, you know, finger pressure. Don McGee, I turned my first goblet today. Good lad, good lad. Was very happy how it turned out. Thanks to watching and learning from it. That was very nice of you. If you did exactly opposite to what I said, Don, then you should have been okay, mate. Yeah, Rob, yeah, a lacquer for a high gloss. Yes, you can use a spray lacquer. I use that, actually, I'm a liar. I do use a spray gloss lacquer when I ebonize finials. Very rarely do I use ebony for finials, so I ebonize them and then I use a spray lacquer to get the glossy effect on a finial. Tom Wilcox. Hello Tom, how are you? Nice to see you. What's the best R you have? Ruth Martinez, what's the best R you have? I'm afraid I don't know if you're talking to me or somebody in chat. Sorry about that, Martina. Russell, have you used a hook tool? No, I haven't, Russell. No, I haven't used a hook tool, is the answer to that. They look like very, very effective bits of kit. Who was it? Oh, I think it was actually Pat Carroll's got one. I think he made one, actually. Thank you, Lee. That's extremely kind of you. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. You are a gentleman. I haven't finished yet, mind. So you might want a refund. Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to have a quick vape now. Excuse me. That's it. This isn't vape. It's so cold in here. This is condensation from my breath. Oh, Jerry Dempsey saying thanks for the tip on the auger bit. Yeah, luckily I saw a video before I got an auger bit. I can't remember who it was, but I did that. I've had that auger bit for 6 years. Still going strong. Joseph King, Russell. Hook tools are better on things with much wider openings. Yeah, you can actually see what you're doing. I think you're right. That's right, Pete. Yes, Pat Carroll has one from German Toolmaker. That's right. Yeah. Philip English, hello, hello. Also turned my first little bowl today. Well done, mate. First time ever. Handled wood turning tools and a lathe. Had an introductory lesson today. Very excited to start my new hobby. Enjoy your journey, Philip English. and that is always my advice to anybody. If you can get a lesson, or as many lessons as you feel you want, that is the best way to start. Because if you don't get lessons, you pick up bad habits, and then when you do get a lesson, they spend all the time getting rid of your bad habits. Well done, Mr. English, as everybody is saying. There's nothing quite like your first piece, is there? It really is. Oh, thank you, Ruth. That is very kind of you. Glad you enjoy them. Funny enough, talking about your first piece, I found my first goblet the other day, and yeah, it was more like a trumpet really, but nevertheless I was pleased with it. Yes, you're right, Lenny, it is actually. It's hard to get lessons, yes, but there's some decent people on YouTube, not including me, some very good stuff from Stuart Batty, Alan Batty, his late father as well, stuff from Jimmy Clues. There's a lot of professional turners that got really good videos out there, and Vimeo is a good way of looking at these things as well. Oh, do you, Wayne? Oh, brilliant. I do want to try one one day. Thomas Coker, I might love the wall holders for the chucks and jaws. Great idea. Do you know, I got that idea for the chucks. I've had it for years now. I got that off that Spanish turner who doesn't turn anymore now. He doesn't come on YouTube anymore. Oh, can't think of his name now. I got it from him anyway. Thank you, the Dutch turner. That's very kind of you. Good point there, Steve. With a lot of turners now, we're doing remote lessons, and that would be almost as good as having somebody in with you. Or if you're not too far from me, you come to me. And then do, as I keep saying, do exactly the opposite, and you'll be all right. Okay, we'll get on with no questions, I don't think, now. I got my finger stuck. Oh, I might have been binge watching. Oh my God, Gene Callahan. Thank you very much. I appreciate your stalwart support, my friend. But you need to get out more. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Right, one more drink. Nigel, such as well-organised workshop. I'm jealous. I tell you what, 2 days ago it wasn't. I've completely, well, not completely. I've done a lot of bits and pieces in here. Reorganised a few things, as one does. I sometimes enjoy that as much as turning, you know, when you get in and say, I'm not turning today, I've got to reorganise stuff. But I was here till 1 o'clock one morning, which is not late for Steve Twaddell, because he never sleeps. Oh, Thank you very much, Ruth. Hello, Paul. How are you, mate? You all right? Good, you hear that? There's an RS8, is it, in the village? And he comes up here and he don't have to give it some welly. It sounds lovely, but it does annoy me when I'm filming. Right, okay. I'll have one more quick drag. We'll go on the overhead. We'll carry on hollowing. I'm quite happy to about here, just a bit down the bottom, and then I'll start to the finishing process, if you like. Okay, still got sound, yeah. Respirator on. Yeah, to about there's a couple of little ridges down there. You see, when quite often when I'm not filming, very often I stop a lot when I'm and you just feel with the tool and you know where to start then. Like I got a bit there, so just nice and light, get in there. Just feeling my way down on the ridges and trying to smooth them out. Although you can't feel them with your finger, you can't get in there. You want to get it as smooth as you can. See, my finger will only go down to there. So these little gizmos that I made a long time ago, and I've just at the end just covered it with 2 blobs of super glue or CA glue, so that it doesn't mark the work on the outside or the inside. So it's just starting there, so we just need to bring that down a little bit, and I think that's about as far, just a little bit there, just down here, just there. Okay, I think we'll, yeah, that's the inside. And as I say, if it wasn't time critical, I would spend a lot more time refining it, but the idea is there, and I think we're talking okay, the walls at the moment are around 5mm, so it's not as thin as I would normally go, but we've got to do a little bit of just fine tuning here, and I just want to bring, I'll come back to my if I can find it. Somebody's pinched my 1/2" spindle gauge. No, they haven't. There it is. So what I want to do now is to bring that round. Now again, I've always said about having support, so just bring up your tailstock and just lightly put your live centre in there. That's all you want. It just gives you that little bit of extra support. Now people always say to me about, oh, you keep this tidy, you keep that tidy. The reason I do that is I know where things are, and now I've lost my 1/2" spindle gauge again. Oh, I don't believe it. There it is. Okay, so just going to bring that round. I'm quite happy with the shape there. Now at this point, do I want to leave a little lip here? Let's bring the camera there. Oh, hang on, let's do this one. There we go, you can see there. Now that little lip there, I think I might well keep that. I'll tell you what we will do, we'll just have a look at this crack and see what happens. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just tidy up this rim, this lip, and very light cuts. Just drop that down a bit. I'm not quite sure what I want to do there, so I'll just play with it a little bit. Yeah, I think I quite like just having a little bit of a... See, all these things, nothing is set in stone. I think what I'm going to do yeah, there's a bit of a crack there, you see, and that's coming down here, and there's just there. Normally I'd fill that with CA, but I think we might get away with it actually. What I might do is just bring it down ever so slightly there. So bring up the tailstock again. See, nothing ever goes smoothly, but that doesn't matter. That's all the joys. Just a little bit of support, and just, there's not a lot to play with, just bring that round a little bit there. So sort of pick up about here, I think. Very light. You have to be mindful that there's not a lot left there. Yeah, I quite like that. And then just come in a little bit here, just to not much, ever so slightly, just to that lip there. Yeah, it just gives it a little bit of character. Just a little bit of shear scraping here, just to refine that, and a little bit here. It's a little lump there. Just want to get down. I go left-handed, and I hate going left-handed. That's better. Yeah, that's it. Now at this stage we've got to sand, and we've got to decide exactly how far down we want to bring that base in. So again, just check the depth. This was given to me years ago by a turning friend of mine called Jim Robb. He made them and brought them to one of the shows. So we're down to there, so that's okay, plenty to work with. I can just bring that in quite a bit narrower, just bring up the tailstock, So we can bring that in a bit more. Let's go to the overhead now. There we go. And let's just move that a bit. There we are. How's that? Yeah. So I'm turning the speed up a bit now to 1250 revs. So I want to bring this part down a bit. Just nice light cuts, just to give me a bit of space to work with. And I'm going to bring this down nice fine cuts. Yeah, quite like that. So just bring that in so I can get it a bit narrower there as well. Sorry, the foot, smaller foot. Yeah, I think that's about it. So that's where we'll be parting off. So what I need to do now is to sand. And what I'll be using, which is one of my favourite tools, is the inertia sander. There are times when, especially if you're doing a bowl, I always find if you're inertia sanding, that's fine, but I tend to cheat with the middle of a bowl if I've got a recess, because the inertia sander doesn't move very much in the middle because they're dead wood, so I resort to power sanding. But yeah, it's the inertia sander works very well. So tonight's demo is going to be a bit longer than it would have been had I said, right, that's it, because I got quite a few people asking me about finishing. Could I finish a piece? So I thought, yeah, I can. I'm able to finish a piece, you know, although people don't believe me. Okay, so respirator on. It's got to get a bit noisy, but I think hopefully you can hear me still. And we'll start off with 120, and I like the revs around the 1600, 1500 rev mark, even pressure, no great pressure at all. Let the tool do the work, and what you're doing here is just refining, bringing out any little marks you might have, and just getting that shape exactly as you want it. Keep moving. bit here. That's too washed out now, isn't it? Yeah, how's that? Yeah, that's better. So in those little bits there, just use a pad, nice and light. Be careful on this because you've got a little crack there. And then the inside of the lip. Yeah, it's looking quite good. So now go to 180. And as I say, I'm only doing this because I was asked, and I know a lot of you don't want to watch sanding, but and the beauty of using an inertia sander is that you don't get any lateral lines because it's all random. Because normally, if you're, actually I can use some 180 from here, excuse me, going off, well I'm not on camera at the moment, so you don't know what I'm doing. I'll just get some of this strip, which is ideal for this. Just turn that down a bit because I'm doing it by hand. This is 180 grit. One of the biggest things with sanding is to keep the same pressure throughout the grits. Now I know I'm teaching my grandma to suck eggs with anybody that's had experience and is more experienced turner, but you would be surprised how many people say they're having problems with sanding, and that is the main problem. It's not keeping an even pressure through all the grits. So that's 180, and now 240. Turn the speed up again because we're inertia in. .240 from the strip. Just inside the little opening here. Don't put your fingers inside, because if that catches, you'll know it. Okay. That crack seems to be holding okay. Yeah, not too bad. Okay, we can take the respirator off now. I can turn the extractor off. Now you can hear me properly. And now we'll, actually I think what I'll do is just go out a little bit there, turn that off so you can see better, that's better. Remove matey, put my dirty board on, stop getting stuff all over the bedways. Okay, so my process for finishing, which I'm sure a lot of you know, And a lot of you use something similar. My process for finishing normally is sanding sealer, Yorkshire grit, original, sometimes microfine if I've got the time and I want to get a really smooth finish, and then let all that go off, and then Hampshire Sheen high gloss, and that is my go-to finish. So now we're going to put sanding sealer on and rub it well in. Now what the sanding sealer does, for those that aren't aware, it, as the name suggests, it seals the wood and prepares the surface for your finish of choice. And what happens is, if you're using, which I do on things like burls, etc., if you're using just sanding sealer, and then after you've sanded, you sand up to say 600, then sanding sealer, then you wax. Now the beauty of Yorkshire grit for normal turning like this is I've just sanded up to 240 with inertia. Okay, I've got the respirator and I've got the extraction, etc., but I don't have to go to the finer grits. So there's a big advantage there for sanding, especially if you're in a smaller workshop and your extraction isn't adequate. It will reduce those very fine particles when you get to the 320, 400, 600, 800, whatever you go up to. So it has that advantage, but it also has an advantage of preparing the surface very nicely for your wax. The big problem with a lot of people who use it, they say, oh, I can't get it's you don't leave it long enough. I don't mean you've got to leave the sanding sealer now to go off, okay? So you leave the sanding sealer for 2 or 3 minutes, that's all, especially in this heat. And what is it now? I say heat, we're 23 degrees in the workshop at the moment, which is a very nice, pleasant temperature. So it won't take too long. In the colder weather, it takes a bit longer. When you've done that, that's prepared the surface, ready for your Yorkshire grit. Yorkshire grit, people say, oh, well, Yorkshire grit takes a long time. It doesn't. If you're sanding properly, you've got another 4 grits to go. I'm waffling on now, I'm talking. So it doesn't matter. But it takes no longer to use Yorkshire grit than it does with sanding up to 600 to 800, if you're doing it properly. So, because what Yorkshire grit is an abrasive paste, basically. And there are others on the market, of course there are. But I find it works well. I've used it for years. And the microfine, which is a finer paste altogether, is ideal if you do resins, acrylics, and that sort of thing is ideal for that. I actually use it on wood sometimes, and it really does give a very smooth finish. Okay, so now we're going to use Yorkshire grit, original. And you see on the top there, I've got sanding sealer, because a number of times I've forgotten to put sanding sealer on first. It's not the end of the world if you don't put sanding sealer on. All you have to do is do another application of Yorkshire grit, because the first application will start to seal the wood. So no great pressure while you're applying it, just rub it on nice and evenly all over the piece. Don't have to use loads of it, but just get a nice, you can feel the grit in it working, and you can already see that the sanding sealer started to make the grain pop, and now the Yorkshire grit's doing an even better job, and it will do an even better job when it's done. Now the important thing is, just put a little bit more on. Somebody mentioned about, is this punky? It is not. I'm amazed actually how unpunky it is for spalting, because it's got some beautiful spalting on it, especially this bit here. Now this is going to lend itself for a finial. I shall do a finial in the future for this. That's why I wanted to leave a little collar on the top there. So this will be finialed at a later stage. Okay, so I've applied that. Again, you want to start your lathe off, it depends how you feel. Start it off at about 700 revs, something like that. And what you want to do now is just keep moving the cloth, your paper towel around, and what you're doing, no great pressure, you're just breaking down the ingredients, the grit if you like. There's rotten stone and there's lots of different things in there, and you're breaking it down. As it's breaking down, it is very lightly abrading the surface, so it's leaving a very smooth surface. I'm not sure what sort of a grit this is comparable to, but I think it's around 1,000 grit, something like that. It starts off at obviously a coarser grit. And the other thing as well, just a point to note, is when you've done your sanding sealer, normally you would denib it with either Scotch pad or something similar, or even another paper towel, just to get rid of any nibs that are on there. You don't need to do that with Yorkshire grit, because Yorkshire grit's an abrasive paste, so it obviously naturally will get rid of those bits and pieces that are left on there, the little nibs, little high points, call them what you will. Okay, so we've got to that stage. Now fold the paper, turn the speed up a bit, same pressure, but what you're doing, your goal is to finish this procedure without any residue left, and you'll know when that happens because you'll feel it as slick as glass. You can see already we're getting a shine. Well, that's going to happen anyway with Yorkshire grit. Some people say, well, can't you use Yorkshire grit as a final finish? The reason you need to put something on top of Yorkshire grit is purely and simply, it is not a finish in its own right. You need something to protect it. It'll get the surface to a lovely finish, which you can see is happening now. But the other thing as well is, look, you're still getting residue. So keep going. You can turn it up to whatever speed you like, but just keep the pressure the same. So now I've gone up to, what am I going to do now? 1300 revs. And just keep going with the same action until you get no more residue on your towel. Now what I do then, which gives me an ideal opportunity to have a little chat to you and have a vape and a drink, is I leave it for 5 minutes. The reason I leave it for 5 minutes, it lets it, any oils or whatever, just dry off. Let them dry off before, it's just, I don't know if the camera will pick that up actually, just a little bit left there now. So get another bit of paper towel, but you're already getting a finish which is acceptable, and it's not a final finish. So what we're doing now is burnishing, and I can feel it now as I'm going across the piece. You can feel it becoming smoother and smoother and smoother, apart from those bits of rubbishy wood that's on Mick Stratton's wood, which, you know, it's not my fault, it's nobody's fault apart from Mick Stratton. Now there's very little coming off now, so just a couple more passes. And you spend time on this and it really pays dividends. Whether you use Yorkshire grit or you go straight to your wax finish, your preparation, your sanding, your radial marks, getting rid of all those makes all the difference. Now you can see there, I don't know if the camera hopefully will pick it up. I can't get very close in with these. It's a lovely smooth finish, it is. Take it from me, I can feel it. There's a little bit of, you can still feel it a little bit waxy if you like, a bit greasy. So, you know, there's no problem, just go a bit further, give it a bit more. And as I say, we're not putting much pressure on. Yeah. Now I'm happy with that. So it's looking good. Now what it needs to do now is just cool down a bit, because obviously we've been burnishing. Let it cool down a bit and just let it go off. So I'll take that opportunity to have a drink and have a chat and take any questions if you should have any. Let me go back to this ugly mug again. And good grief, I can't believe it's 439 people. My goodness me. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I really appreciate it. Everybody else is having a good old chat. That's good. That's what it's all about. Let's open a nice fresh can of Diet Coke with no vodka in it, I'll have you know. We're going to do a quick intermission so I can have a vape. Just noticed the comments from Steve and from Pete as well. Yes, you can do, of course you can do pieces this size with a spindle gouge, even a bowl gouge, but it's up to you. I mean, a goblet is not a lot smaller than this, and I normally use a spindle gouge for that. However, it's whatever you fancy. I mean, I like to mix and match. I'm not a production turner. I'm out to enjoy myself, and I'm also out to learn different ways of doing things. You can use a spindle gouge, you can use a skew chisel, like Steve says. I've hollowed a goblet with a skew chisel, but why do it if there are other methods that you prefer doing or like to do? Wood turning is a very personal thing, and I think I genuinely believe that everybody should do what they're happy with, and then that's the right way. If it works for you, it's the right way to do it. Steve Rams, I think, did a little blue hitchhiker logo. Right, okay. I'm missing out. Absolutely might enjoy your video. That's the only trouble. Hello, Maggie. How are you? William Kowalski, where am I? I'm here. I'm in Bedfordshire in the UK, William. Martin, please kick on the thumbs up button. I'll kick the thumbs up button. No, Martin, hang on a minute. Wayne Bigfoot, I missed you coming. And seriously, because I've been turning, I've got nobody watching the chat. Everybody that's turned up tonight, thank you very much indeed. I really do appreciate it. Michael Stratton, have I tried using the chestnut cut and polish? No, I haven't. I've really had no need to be honest with you. Look, it's like waxes, it's like preparations, like Yorkshire grit, cut and wax, whatever it is. There's the Australian one as well. There are a lot of different products that do virtually the same thing, and if you find a product that works for you, that's fine. And it works for me, it works for a lot of other people as well. There are very few products out there which are rubbish, and you know, that's the way I look at it. Each one to his own. I wouldn't say that, Rob, but it's very nice of you to say so. Levi, go and stand in the corner. Howdy, you are late. Well, unfortunately, this is for Levi. I've done the hollowing, and I've put the, I've sanded, and I have put the sanding sealer on and Yorkshire grit, and that's where we are up to now. Okay, and I'll give you a tail. This is purely for Levi, and that's the sort of shape and the hole we've got there. Can't get my finger in. I get my little pinky in, but that's it. And I assure you, it's nice and smooth right the way to the bottom, and it's hollowed out to about there, just there. Okay, just there, I think. So the idea of Bailey Woodworks. Thanks for the demo, Mike. I don't think I'm ready for a hollow form yet. Have a go, seriously. And you don't, if you turn slow, it doesn't matter. The big thing with hollowing, in my opinion, when I started to hollow, I used to hollow open, like a bowl almost, to get a feel of the piece where the cutter needs to be. Because when you do small ones like this, it's all by feel, but you can actually, with a wider opening, you can see what you're doing. So if you start off like that, have the lathe right down low and just see where you get the shavings, and it gives you an idea what you need to do. Then speed up a little bit, and that's how you gain your experience with it. Is that an egg cup? It could be, but I'm going to part it off. It could be a lot of things, but no. I was going to make it bigger. Thank you, Nigel. That is very kind of you. I appreciate it. You're a gentleman. When I was looking at this, I was going to bring it down to here, but the width of the piece would have meant that it would have, in my opinion, would have been out of proportion. So that's where it's going to go to. That wood won't go to waste, I assure you. I never waste any wood. Ask my wife. All depends on what grind you like on your tools, Roy. A wheel gives you a curved bevel and the saw will be a flat. Thank you. I do appreciate the guys like Steve and everybody else that are answering questions in there, because there's a lot of people here got a lot of experience, and some of them got much more than I've got. So if you get your questions answered by people in the chat, that's brilliant, because that's what it's all about. Hang on a minute, I just missed. Beetlebum, I've learned a lot from watching you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Made a copy of a microwave motor power display. It does work a treat, doesn't it? It's brilliant. Brilliant. Jacques Gimeno, great work. Thank you very much. Great work, Mike. When are you going to do the finial? I don't think I'll do the finial on... I might buy one off Cindy Drozder, actually. No, I have a lot of hollow forms and things like that where I'll just do a load of finials. You know, I'll have a day on doing finials. And then some of them will fit, you know, but I'll post a picture of when I do. I don't know when I'll get round to it, but that's what I like about hollow forms, I guess, with small openings. You know, you can alter them, and you can even make an egg cup if you wanted to. Got to just put some tape on the tool rest on hollow form, a bowl staying between the tape to simulate the narrow opening. Yeah, Pete, there are loads and loads of ways of doing it, but thanks for that tip. It's brilliant. It's the bomb. Yeah, it looks like a bomb. You see, that is not to everybody's taste, but I like it. I'm happy with it because I'm going to be putting a finial on it. If it had been a bit, I would have possibly had it a bit narrower coming down here in more of a gap, but you know, it is what it is. He wants his leftovers back. I'm going to do a goblet with the other bit, Mick. Thank you, Jerry. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Cheers, mate. Thanks for turning up. I appreciate it. It does look good. Yes, the spalting looks brilliant. The turning was rubbish, but the spalting's good. Okay, so now it's time. It's nice and dried off now. I'm going to put my wax on it. And again, one of the main issues when people put the newer turners, when they put finishes on, they put much too much on with regards to wax. You don't need to put loads of wax on. If I can just show, I'm just doing, that's all I'm putting on there to begin with, and just rub it round, rub it nicely in. And then start the lathe up. I mean, you can actually apply it with the lathe started, doesn't matter. And just work it in nicely. This isn't the final buff, this is just working it in. Maybe put a little more on. But with any wax, it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's Hampshire sheen like this, or it's Wood Wax 22, or it's any wax you use, little is more. I know it's a cliche, but it's very true. Rather put, if you want to get a really high mirror finish, put 3 or 4 coats on. But the main thing is, I mean, you can see already, this isn't burnished, this is mainly been applied. And you want to get an even coating. Spalted wood's a little bit more forgiving, obviously, because the spalting will detract from a less than perfect surface. But you know it's there. So that'll do now. And I just give it, you can feel it's a little bit tacky, so you leave it a couple of 3 minutes and buff him up. And then you'll get a nice shine. Okay, let's go back to my ugly face. Hang on, let's have a quick vape. Thank you, Douglas, you're very kind. Thanks, Fred Taylor, appreciate it. But I'm determined to get a finish on it because it'll be the first one I've actually done a finish on. And we've only been an hour and a half, so it's, no, 2 hours. Doesn't time fly? But I'm quite happy with 2 hours is okay to get the piece finished. So turn the speed up now. About 1200 revs, something like that. No great pressure, because then you'll get streaks. So just nice even pressure, and finish at the end of the piece like this. So you're dragging everything to the end. So hopefully you'll get no streaks. And that is all you need. I mean, I would, under normal circumstances, because it's spalted, I would most probably give it another coat. But I don't want to keep you for that. So that is, for all intents and purposes, finished. What I could do, what I also do quite often, if I want to get a higher gloss, I'll finish off with Canuba wax on the buffing wheel. Just put a buffing wheel in the spindle and buff it, and that's what I did with the last one, and it gives a really, really deep shine. And if that's what you want to do, the Canuba wax also gives it a much tougher finish. Right, so all that remains to do now is to part him off. And again, for the newer turner, remember when you part off to undercut the foot, so it stands nicely on the surface on which it's going to stand. And I've got a normal parting tool here, and I'm going to maybe get away without the light. Again, just on 1000 revs, and that's the sort of position. I'm going to have to put the light on, can't see what I'm doing. Sorry if it... Now when you've got a parting tool like this, which is not a diamond parting tool, make sure you make a relief cut so that it doesn't bind. Now there are two options here when you get to that stage. You can either use a saw to cut it off, and then you've got the nub to attend to. Now what I intend to do is do it that way because it's a little bit safer, and I don't want any newer turners here to follow my lead, because I would take it off like this, but I'm not going to do that on camera for a live demo. So all I'll do is use a pull saw, which is actually safer anyway. It's safer for the piece as well. Okay, and that leaves you with the nub there, obviously, which you just sand off. And if there are enough people. Well, there's 462 people here now, so I will actually finish that. It won't take me 2 minutes to set that up if you want me to. Just to show you what I do here. So take that, you see that blank there will be used for something else. It might be a base for a 3-piece goblet. There's plenty of options. I might not actually do all the sanding, but I'll just show you what I do to do the bottoms of pieces. And I'll have to take out my auger bit, so bear with me. So hang on, let's go to face a minute, so at least you can see me wandering around. No, we go to the tailstock end, I think. Can you see what's going on here? Yeah, that's it. So what I do here, I've got my auger bit in there at the moment, so you'll take him out. If you see now, I can't find. Where's he gone? That's it. I've lost it. That's incredible. Never mind. We'll take it out of there. Take that out. Put him on. Ah, there it is. I can see it. Put that on a magnet. And then what I do then is I want the little ones. I want the little ones for a. So I use these little 37mm. What would be an idea, obviously, is to put this in in the right spindle as well. That's better. Let's close that down and get rid of that light for a minute. Okay, that closes on there. Just tighten that up. That's it. And then this boy fits in there. I'll go back to the overhead now, and I'll start off with. The reason I like these is because when you've got a small, I was going to say a small bottom then, when you've got when you've got a small base, they're ideal, because then it's not going to affect the surface of what you've finished. So we'll go to the overhead, and I just noticed, thank you very much from Brian, very kind of you, excuse me a minute, and Richard Klingman, thank you very much, you're very generous, I appreciate it. And anybody that has actually donated that I haven't mentioned, thank you very much. I do apologise if I've missed you. But okay, so make sure that's in, and then put the, let's go to the overhead, and literally not too much, not too heavy, fast I mean, and literally all you're doing is taking off the nub. And I always think there's hardly anything worse than sanding on a demonstration, but as I explained, some people have said to me, would you mind doing it? And I said, well no, as long as you don't mind waiting, and I mean, it's not going to be finished to the standard that I would normally like, but hopefully it'll be acceptable. A little bit more there. There you go. So that is just showing you the method that I use. It's got rid of the nub virtually. Then I just run through the grits there, again apply sanding sealer, and I wouldn't put the Yorkshire grit on there, just sanding sealer and wax for the bottom, and then either sign it or in my case use a branding iron. And it does stand nicely on its own. Let's get back to the face, and there he is. Little hollow form, very light, and with a 25mm, not 25mm at all, it's a 20mm entrance, 20mm hole, and the bottom nearly finished. But as I say, I'm not going to go through all the grits now because it's been 2¼ hours, but we got there and we finished it. It's got some lovely figure on it, and as I say, with a finial, I haven't got one here actually, but if you can imagine something like that, which I'd ebonize on top of there, if you can imagine that, let's come down here a bit, that sort of height with that would look rather nice, and that one might actually be the one I use, I don't know, or I might turn one specially for it. But yeah, you've got a lot. And the other thing with a hollow form like this, if you're using a, you've got a narrow opening on your hollow form, if you get, like there was a crack on here, but that crack didn't cause a problem. If it had, or you got a catch or something as you're hollowing it, just make the opening wider, and then it goes from a hollow form to possibly a lidded box or something. So, you know, it's not, it's a pretty good way of practicing, and it's a good way, it's got a lot of flexibility as well. It's yes, Nigel, yes, Mike Walt Fabergé egg, yeah, that's good. Actually, with hollow forms, I know it's very personal. I quite like that sort of a shape, but my favourite shape, which I didn't do tonight, well, I don't know, is sort of wide here and coming down really quite like that, you know what I mean, coming in tapering quite a lot. But you know, the problem with that is sometimes you lose some of the figure, and with this I'm happy with it anyway. Right, I'm sure I'm missing out on loads of chat here, but I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. Thank you, Mr. Stratton, very kind of you. Glad you enjoyed it, Steve. Thank you. Any wood, free wood, any sort of wood at all, Brian. People say, oh, you shouldn't turn pine and all that. Yes, you can, to practice on. If you get a good finish on it, it means your tool control is good as well, because you can get some wonderful finishes on pine. My dust extractor, what wattage is it? I'm not sure, to be honest. I can't remember, actually. Hang on a minute. I can't remember, Mr. Retired, but it's the Axminster pneumatic, and it's the twin, it's the 750 NG, I think it is. But it works off a, I've only got 2-phase in the garage. Douglas Munger, Mike, could I do a live on turning finials? I could do, yes, but I must say that I'm nowhere near to Cindy Droster. Cindy Droster is the high priestess of finials, in my opinion, amongst others, like Mr. Carroll and many others. But yes, I'll think of doing that. But We'll see. I'll have some spare in case I go through them. I'll consider that, Douglas, seriously, yeah. Thank you, Robert. That's very kind of you to say so. Thank you. Oh, Brian in Florida, you're saying you've got pine trees and oak. Well, oak, you certainly can. It's hardwood, but it turns lovely. Thank you, Andy from Llanelli. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you very much indeed. Nostar. My pleasure, Shay Lenehan. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Oak is not lousy to turn. I love oak. Oak is a lovely... Pine, maybe. I haven't turned pine. But it's a wide grain wood, Brian. But it's still good to, you know, practice on. Thank you, Mr. Dutch Curder. That's very kind. No, I give credit where it's due. I'm quite aware where I am skill level compared to a lot of my friends who are professional turners. But each to his own. Thank you very much, Nigel. I appreciate it. Thanks very much for your donation. Much appreciated. I look forward to it too. Look forward to seeing you next time. Martin, does it produce a sound if you blow over the opening? I don't know, Martin. Let's try, shall we? No. No. Yes, it does. Yes, you are, Martin. I've got a musical instrument. Can't do it now. I can't believe I'm doing this. Well, yeah, it did. But it won't. Oh, yeah, sure. Oak and pine will blunt tools quickly, but you just keep sharpening your tools. There's not a problem there. Thank you very much, Pajo. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. Norfolk Island pine, William, yes, we call it, it's the same family, I think, but I've turned some monkey puzzle over here in the UK. That was a challenging turn, but it turned out okay. Thank you, Douglas. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you very much indeed for coming as well. I'm busking next week. Yeah, you're right, Wayne. I might be doing, I think what I'm going to be doing, while I'm on furlough, I might be doing one next week, but I think it'll be every fortnight. I'll do a regular video and then one of these, but I'll let everybody know. It'll be on my social media by the sort of Thursday/Friday of next week. Oak and blunt tools, but pine gets them sticky. Yes, that's true. That's very true, Pete, yeah. Pete is a wealth of knowledge. Pete Twisted Trees, he's been turning a lot longer than I have, and I'm sure he's turned everything. I bet he hasn't turned a salami, though. But no, what I'm saying is, that's what I love about this, is there are so many people here with far more experience than I've got, and they've got experiences, hints and tips, and you pass them on in the chat, and that's brilliant. That's what it's all about. Did I just blow up his bomb? No, I didn't. No, I'm not. Dutch Turner, I'm not on Instagram. I'll be honest with you, and this sounds very, very crass, really. I just haven't got time. With YouTube and Facebook, that keep, you know, my other life as my normal life. I did have an Instagram account, but I closed it down. I just can't keep up with it all. I can barely keep up with my comments on videos as quickly as I'd like to. Thanks, Graham. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for coming, mate. Rob, Pete has helped me. I bet he has. Pete's got a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. I'll be calling him about this router thing shortly, Pete. Well, I'm glad to say that the connection held up and everything is fine in that respect, so I'm well pleased there. No, Pete, the last one wasn't a disaster. It's always a big thing. It's amazing what gremlins come in when you do your, well, they come in all the time. Glad you enjoyed it, Paul. Thanks very much, mate. I look forward to seeing you in the very near future. Yeah, it is. And the thing is, I think, you know, it's only respectful to people. If they leave comments or they make a comment, you've got to get back to them. I just can't get back to them as quick as I'd like to. No, I've never turned crack willow, Andy. No, I haven't. Retired Ilminster, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for coming. And as Brian says, Pete, I can't wait for your live either. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Good night, mate. Take care. See you again. BB Turning Shay. Hey, Brian, I didn't spot you were here. You're slipping, Shay. Benjamins, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Martin, thanks a lot for the demo. My pleasure. Didn't work out a hollow form, so it was a big help to watch this demo. Take care and see you next time. Okay, Martin, thank you very much indeed. Great, Andy. Let me know how you get on, mate. It's hard work. Is it? Yeah, well, does it give a good finish? I thought you were might, not really. Well, I think, thank you for, yeah. I think tonight has been a bit of a record for me. I think I had 420 people at one stage, which is a record for me. 390 has been the maximum, so I really am appreciative, especially with all the other great turners that are out there. All right, Mark, how are you? So, thanks for coming, mate. Sorry I didn't make yours live, but I certainly looked at it on the replay. Great job, mate. Matt, 364, you need some Jack Daniels in that coat. Yeah, you're not wrong there, mate. Demo. That's okay. You're an hour late, but I was here for 2. Okay, mate. Thank you very much. Cheers, Matt. Take care. Give my love to Valerie, Wayne. You take care, mate. Cheers. Yeah. Andy, I'm sure by the sound of it, you've had more experience than me, but I find that with a lot of stuff. I tell you what I do find, I love the buzz and I love it, these live demos, but it is a bit nerve-wracking when you start off, because if you make a mistake, it's time all the time. And I'm not a speed merchant, but lovely community, superb, and I met a lot of friends on these lives, and I love them, absolutely love them. Cheers, Mark, I appreciate that. Or the diameter of the piece. Sorry, yeah, okay. Shay, Dimitri's asking for the diameter. It's about 3.5 inches, I would think. If I find a ruler. It's just on 4 inches at its widest point, and it's just under 5. So it's about 3 3/4 inches wide, and it's just under 5 tall. And as I say, normally I would have spent more time hollowing, getting it down, because I think it's about 5 mil, I said, something like that, 5 or 6 mil. I'd get it down to about 3 mil, but that takes time. As I say, I'm not a speed merchant, but it was basically to show people the people who don't know what I do to finish, that's what I do to finish. Cheers, Douglas. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks for coming, mate. Appreciate it. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you coming, mate. Take care. How did I get here? Hello, Seth. Jameson, I don't know how you got here, mate. Must probably press the wrong button. You're welcome anyway. Thanks for coming. Thank you very much, Martin. I appreciate it. Take care, mate. Thanks, Jerry. Jerry Dempsey. Appreciate you. Cheers. Thanks for coming, mate. Oh, what's happened here? Hang on. Where are we? Oh, I've lost myself. Oh, that's it. That's what I wanted. That's it. Matt, what do you do with your work when finished? I don't showcase mine, but when my mum comes, she takes them home and puts them randomly around the house. Friends and family, I give a lot away. I have sold stuff. I've done a few commissions, but not a lot, because I do it for pleasure, as I say. I don't like stress. That's the reason I turn, is to get rid of stress. I have got a bit of exciting news. Well, exciting news. In a town, or a little town, about 5, 6 miles, 7 miles from us, I'll find out in a couple of months whether next year I'll be displaying in a gallery, in an art gallery. Me in an art gallery. But not art, but various crafts are in this gallery. So, yeah, fingers crossed. It'd be nice to have a few pieces. But basically, I turn for pleasure. And it goes in the house and comes out of the house and gets replaced with other stuff. And I give it to people when they're not looking. I say, well, you have that. Thanks very much, Roger. I'm glad you came. Thank you very much. Glad you enjoyed it. Stress be gone. Seth, yeah, you're right. I'm still a bit perturbed, Seth, that you said you don't know how you got here. Where were you hoping to go? Thank you, Rob. Always a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much. I can't, Florent Hook, I can't, Jim, I can't speak French, I'm afraid, and my daughter-in-law is French, and I can't speak it. Thanks, Douglas, appreciate it, mate. Maggie, why not, Mike? It will be wonderful. What will be wonderful, Maggie? Trevor Hawkins, my 8-year-old son, John, enjoyed this. That's great, thank you, Trevor. Start them young, mate. Start them young. The younger the better. Thank you, Brian. See you next week. And thanks very much. I appreciate it. Nice to see you again. See you next week, mate. Either next week or the week after. But I'll let you know over the end of the week. Andy Clonettley, thanks for a great deal. That's very kind of you, Andy. Thank you for coming again. That's very kind of you, mate. I appreciate it. As I do all of you coming. I'm going to have an unofficial vape now. There's one of our young road speeders from the village going past. I'm sure you heard that. Pete, I sell some of mine through gift shops, yeah. Occasionally do craft fairs when there is a good crowd going to be there. Quite a lot I burn. Yeah, I know your feet. I know, Pete, I'm the same. I haven't done... All right, sorry, Maggie. Yeah, that's very nice of you. Yeah, hopefully we'll see in a couple of months. Craft fairs and that, the problem with craft fairs, without this special situation we're in with COVID, normally I work on weekends. Not every weekend, but I can't guarantee I'm going to be able to get to a craft market because they're normally on a Saturday or Sunday. And I normally work then. So I haven't never done a craft fair. A couple of friends of mine are insisting they're going to take my stuff and do a craft fair if I'm working. I don't know yet. We'll see. Mike, you don't give me the size of your shaft on the machine because you think I should work on a simple one. Chaka, please tell me the diameter in millimeters later or now. Sorry, I can, the diameter of my shaft, it's an M33, 3.5 M33 3.5 thread. That is the size of my spindle. It's an M33. And that's Andreas, is it? Oh, Dimitri, not Andreas. Sorry, Dimitri. Sorry, Dimitri. Shay, it's an M33, mate. It's an M33 by 3.5 spindle. Don't forget to shout out for Woodturning 360 tomorrow night, Mike. Oh yes, well done, Mick. Woodturning 360, for those of you who are members, and for those of you who aren't members, should become members of the online woodturning club, we have none other than... come on, Mick, help me out. Oh, my word. Hang on a minute, I can't remember. Les Thorne. I can never remember Les. I've met him God knows how many times. We have Les Thorne turning on Zoom tomorrow night. And if you join Woodturning 360, it's a free demo. So a little plug for Woodturning 360 there. Started up by Martin Saban Smith about 8 weeks ago. And we have currently 135 members. So go to the website or on Facebook and have a look. And if you like what you see, join. Brian, if I cut my own oak to turn, is it better to cut out the centre? Can I use a thick branch? Yes, you can. If you're cutting around, it's best to get rid of the pith, because that's where your cracks and checking emanate from, Brian. But if you cut your own down, you can cut a limb. If you're not going to use that limb for a while, keep it as long as you can, wax the ends or put anchor seal on the ends, seal the ends to slow down the drying. And everything should be fine. Florida cut the pith, I'm not sure what you call a tin. Yeah, that's basically my thoughts exactly, Pete. Yes, Matt364, anyone here remember or still watch a guy who turned from his conservatory? I used to watch a while ago and now haven't been able to find his channel. I think you might be on about Tom Stratton from the UK. Tom has had some health issues, unfortunately, so he is no longer able to turn. And I haven't spoken to Tom for maybe a good year, 2 years, but I think it was most probably Tom Stratton you were thinking of, Matt. Correct me if I'm wrong. You see, Pete's got far more technical know-how than I have, Brian, so you don't watch me, watch Pete. Twisted Tree, he knows more than I do. That's great, Brian. If you go away from here learning something, it doesn't have to be from me, then it's been a worthwhile visit. My pleasure, and I'm sure it's Pete's pleasure as well. Right, I'm just going to have a little vape, and then I'm going to call it a day, I think. Or call it a night, should I say. I nearly picked up my sanding sealer to drink. I wonder, that would give me a buzz, wouldn't it? Matt, Jesus, yes, that was him. Yep, that's right. Just found him now. Thank you. 4 years ago, just uploaded. Wish him all the best. Yeah, he was. I had the great pleasure of meeting Tom at the first or second UKIS over here. And yeah, a really nice guy. Really nice guy. All your videos are interesting, Shay. What he's going to be doing, Pete, he's going to be turning a piece of oak limb that he chopped down 4 years ago, didn't put any sealer on the end, it didn't crack, and he's going to turn it into a thin stem goblet that doesn't move. There we go. Isn't that right, Shay? Rob, it's been great. Thank you, Rob. Take care, mate. Great to see you. Thank you. Mike, you don't give me the size of your shaft on the machine because you think I should later or now, if it's not too hard for you. Dimitri, I just gave the shaft on your machine. I just gave it through Shay. Look at the diameter of the shaft itself. Ah, right, okay. I can do that. If you bear with me, Dimitri. Let's get this. Right, the diameter of the shaft of the threads is 33mm. Right, the shaft, that's why it's M33. 33mm is the diameter of the shaft. Where you've got your threads, you've got a bit of a shoulder, the threads and the shoulder, obviously because the threads have been cut from that shoulder, that piece of steel. 33mm, Dimitri, is the diameter of that shaft. Hope that helps. Yes, I know, Mick. I don't know why, mate. I don't know why. Padgett's Garage, my wife saw your shop and she said his shop is very tidy and clean. You got me into trouble, mate. Sorry about that, Padgett. Clean up then, mate. I have to be fair, it's only what you see on the camera looks clean. The rest of it is not, well, it's not too bad at the moment because I had a clean up yesterday, but it looks a lot cleaner than it really is. No, not 3.5, 33mm. I think what it is, Shay, that the it is called an M33 by 3.5, and I think the 3.5mm is the pitch of the thread, I think, but I'm not an engineer, but that's what I think it is. Or the thread pitch, definitely. I'm pretty sure it's that. But the 33 is the diameter of the shaft. Right, I'll give it till 10:15. It's been too long for you guys. I'm sorry it's took so long, but it was start to finish. Right, okay. Thank you, Pete and Wivey. I've just confirmed the 3.5 is the pitch of the thread. Mike Doyle, thank you. Robert Dollar, yes it is, thank you. See, I am an engineer after all. Dear oh dear. I'm going to have a vape, I don't care. Going off subject to YV Pete and anybody else who's interested. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Dimitri, that's right. 33 and step 3.5. That's correct. Robert Elliott, Dr. Bob. Good evening, all. Hello, Bob. How are you? From Michigan, the Great Lakes state. Very good present. That's very kind of you, Robert. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm not telling you, Mick. You know, you've seen it for yourself in real life. Thank you, David. Yep, look forward to it, mate. See you tomorrow night. Thank you. Cheers. Let's put this bad boy back. Oh. I say, people go on at me having a tidy shop, but it's because of my age. I've got a very poor memory, and if I don't put things back after I've used them, when I go to use them again, I can't find them. So that's why I like things to be in the right place. And I'm not going to feel guilty for it, but I'm just very envious of people that don't need to be tidy. Oh, Mike Doyle, that is very kind of you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You are a gentleman. You take care. Hope to see you again, Mike. Depends on the size of the bed. Oh, YV, you know me too well, mate. I'm intrigued, actually, Shay. Is it Russian? And do you speak it, or are you using Google Translate? Thanks very much, Mike. Appreciate you turning up, mate. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it. And thank you once again for the wonderful wood. I've got one more item to make out of that. I wonder where that's going to go. Cheers, mate. Oh dear. Well, it's nearing 10:15 now, so unless anybody's got any specific questions, I think we can call it a night. And once again, for all those that are still here, I'd like to thank you very much for turning up. You've made my evening, and I'm always grateful when you turn up. So what have I discovered is live oak turns like butter when green and like concrete when dry. Basically, that's correct, Brian, yes. Oh, in answer to my question, Shay has said Google Translate, I can barely speak English. That's true, Shay. No, it's not. But I was very impressed there for a minute. He wants to know how much was your lathe. If he goes on to the Hope Woodturning and the, I don't know what the price is at the moment, to be honest with you. I think it's about 3.5. I think. Might be a bit less than that, I'm not sure. If he goes on to Hope Woodturning or Oliver's Woodturning, it'll be in the link. It'll be on the website. Obviously, Google Translate it does struggle a little bit. And thank you to all those that have clicked the like button as well, because that obviously helps the channel a lot. And seeing that no one has commented about me vaping, I'm going to have another vape. Frank Fitzpatrick. Hello, Frank. How are you keeping, mate? I didn't see you come in. I apologise for not welcoming you. It is the same Frank Fitzpatrick that I got very drunk with in the first UKISS in 2016, no doubt, and his lovely wife. Nice to hear from you, Frank. I hope you're keeping well, mate. Thanks, YV. Always a pleasure to see you. Take care, mate. Thanks very much for coming. Look forward to your jet, Brian. I bet you are. Tools are sharp and Chuck is ready and stomach is nervous. You'll have a whale of a time, mate. Enjoy it. Really enjoy it. Pete Twist 3750. Is it right? Okay. Thanks, Pete. Hello, Charles Rikes. How are you? Thank you very much. Glad you enjoyed it. Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming. I will, Steve. I'm too old to worry now, mate. Yep, you take care, Pete. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow night on Zoom with Woodturning 360 and Les Thorne. Well, it's great to see you, Frank. I hope you're keeping well, my friend. And that lovely wife of yours, too. Very fond memories of that time we met for the first and only time. Thank you, Robert. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Good night and have a nice evening. What's left of it? I always lie. I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to hang on now for another 5-10 minutes to say goodbye to people. I found out actually now I didn't realise you can edit, take all the chat out from the beginning and the end of a live stream, which is what I'm going to do. So that'll cut it down to about 2 hours. I'd admit you, the chucks, chuck can vary in price by quite a lot, and it depends where you are as well. I got my first chuck off eBay actually, and that was a very good, and it's still going strong. Good night, Steve Fleming. Thank you very much for coming, mate. I appreciate it. Glad you enjoyed it, Patrick Bowers. Thank you very much indeed. You have a good night too. Thank you. Hope to see you again. Right. Brian, the bearded fisherman from Florida, is saying he just paid $225 US for a one-way talon chuck from Amazon. That's a good price. That equates here to something like 150, 160 pounds sterling. Hello, Manjit. How are you? Yeah, your first chuck was from eBay as well, was it? Yeah, eBay can be a very good place. It can be not so cheap or not so good value, but if you get the right piece that nobody else wants, you can get a good deal. Oh, the Evolution. I think the Evolution is. It depends if you want the Evolution with a body only, or if you want they do a package, and that's the chuck, a set of sea jaws, a worm screw and a ring faceplate. Well, I think it's 230 quid, 230 pounds sterling. Thanks for that, Mike, appreciate it. $34.95. Well, I'm not going to shoot you for $15, Brian. Is this video going to stay permanent on your channel, or will it be deleted? Actually, Padjo, I keep it on, but I'm going to edit it a little bit. But I normally keep my lives on as well for people who are interested. What I use the Evolution. I use the Evolution. It's a brilliant chuck. I've got a couple of them now, and I bought one, my original one, 5 years ago, and they're great chucks. They really are excellent, well made, and the good thing, if you happen to have a smaller chuck in the beginning, like I did, all the jaws are all backward compatible. But the SK114 is an excellent chuck. It really is. Actually, Brian, I've been asked that a lot. All it is, I can't really leave that now. All it is 3/4 ply, and just cut out at 90 degrees, and it just fits in. And just screw them in, and I've got like two 3/4 plies for most of the chucks. Well, all of the chucks actually. And all the jaws, and then the longer jaws like the O'Donnell jaws and the piranhas that need more, just put an extra little bit on the front there to stop them falling out. It's a good way. I can't remember who actually I got the idea from, but it's a great way of keeping your jaws. Well, there's the video, Brian. Look. There's the video. No, it's for years I had different things. I had nails and hung them off nails and put them on shelves and that. And then that just, I'm sure I saw it on YouTube. And it's a very, very easy way. And you can make it look nicer than that. Yeah, it is. It is simple, Brian. It's a very simple way. And mostly the best solutions are the simple ones. And that works very well. And you can mark it out easy, just cut it out on the bandsaw. It doesn't have to be smack on. Nothing I do is smack on and accurate, but it is easy. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. That's the way I look at it. Are you still there, Shay, BB? If you are, you're not using Google Translate quick enough. If you're asking, the SK114 is made here in the UK by Axminster Tools, and it's made at their factory in Axminster. Hey, Pete, I've got a problem. When people chat, I just keep chatting. Pajot, did you say SK114 for the truck model? Yes, Pajot, it is the Axminster SK114 Evolution chuck. Right guys, I think it's time to sign off and let you carry on your normal lives. Once again, thank you very much indeed for watching and tuning in, and I will let you know whether it's going to be next week or the week after. Definitely it will be in 2 weeks today, but hopefully I'll get one done next week as well. And I do thank you very much for popping in. Hang on a minute, I do like the jaw rack, but I'm totally thinking you need to copy Martin and Colwyn and have 100 trucks. Yeah, well, I mean, you can't have enough chucks, like you can't have enough clamps, Pete. Okay guys, and gals, I'm gonna bid you a good night. Have a lovely week, enjoy your turning, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks very much indeed for coming. Cheers now.